Hey everybody, it's the coach, and this is Madden 20 on EA Sports. Up next, we've got a good one on tap between the visiting Arizona Cardinals and the Baltimore Ravens. I'll be back with you again with scores around the league at halftime. But kickoff right around the corner. Standing by to call the action, here are Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
With Chesapeake Bay gleaming in the distance, we are inside M&T Bank Stadium near the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, Maryland. The two teams emerging from their respective tunnels a minute ago to the approval of this Baltimore crowd. They're all set as their Ravens will match up with the Arizona Cardinals. Brandon Gaudin and Charles Davis on hand. This is a game where the defenses, they need to be on their toes because you got quarterbacks here, yes, that can throw the football, but they can also run it very well too.
Mobile quarterbacks. Remember, for the longest time, they used to tell the quarterbacks, stay in the pocket. We don't want you outside of it at all. Nowadays, that mobility, truly an asset, and people are game planning for it. As a scout told me recently, we are actually working with what the colleges are giving us nowadays.
Two teams here, each off to 1-0 starts as this one is underway on EA Sports. This will be taken in at the 1. And he'll be brought down here as the penalty flags come in right away, and we may have a face mask here right at the start. Well, we looked at each other right away. We knew that flag was coming out.
And I always enjoy the conversation post because officials always tell you, I don't want to throw the flag, but you caused the play. You did it. I had to.
So the face mask, quite a blessing there as they'll start out of harm's way with a 1st and 10. Murray now on 1st down. Oh, he's going to take a shot right away. That's going to be caught. Touchdown, Cardinals. Kevin White, his 2nd touchdown on the season. And the Cardinals have taken the early lead. Good start to the season for him. He had the touchdown last week in the opener and a 2nd one in week 2 now.
How about the pace he's already established, right? Not sure he can keep it up for an entire season, but don't burst the bubble because he thinks that he can.
Do guys go into a season with a goal for touchdown scored or yardage? What do you think?
I think every single one of the guys who's going to touch the football, they all have those types of goals. They all have those types of thoughts. And then they just have to see how the season unfolds if they can stay with it.
Unfolding so far so good for him. Gonzalez able to tack on the PAT, and it's now a 7-0 game. And they're able to get the connection on the long touchdown pass, and that's one of the easiest drive summaries you'll ever see. One play, touchdown. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. This is fielded a couple yards deep. And he'll get across the 20 before he's brought down at about the 23-yard line. Jackson and the Ravens come up now 1st and 10 at their own 23. Here's carry number 1 for Kenneth Dixon. And this one goes nowhere. Losing yardage back at the 22. That sends them 2 yards in the wrong direction and leads to 2nd down. Plays like we just saw there, that's why they're up right now. And the defense, they're doing their job.
Yeah, it starts with the guys up front. So when you talk with GMs who are putting together a team, a lot of them say we're going to build from the inside out because if you control the line of scrimmage, you control the rest of the ball game, and that's what we're seeing here. They're actually playing in the offense's backfield, not necessarily just playing at the line of scrimmage.
On 3rd down, Jackson. And that is incomplete. So the defense able to get off the field here on 3rd down.
And it's one of the goals of the game. They've got to be effective on passing downs. It's one of the few things defenses chart. How did we do on 3rd down? That's a nice start for them in this one.
On the return is Peterson. A very nice job on the run back there. He'll get 23 yards all told. And the Cards will take over 1st and 10. Here's the Arizona offense now as they get set to take over. And following that long touchdown pass, a one-play drive last time, see if the defense, you know they're ready. They don't want that to happen again.
And you would have thought they would have been ready the last time.
That's
what you work on all the time. Make sure that no one gets behind you. That's the cardinal sin of defense, not giving up the long pass. They did. Let's see how they adjust.
Line of scrimmage, the 31 now on 1st and 10. First down, Murray. And he goes down. The Ravens able to get to him.
There's a lot of discussion in the offseason about him having a big year and getting to the quarterback. They held him without a sack in week 1, but how about here? Finally gets his first one of the season.
In the offseason, said he changed his diet, leaner, feels so good this year. Excited to see what type of a season he can have. There goes a deep ball, end zone. And not only did he drop it, he dropped it in the end zone. And this is a guy straight out of college. They're not going to try to groom for a year or two. They want him to produce right away.
That's why they took him in the first round. They expect him to be a starter right away and a future all-pro. So they don't have any time to wait for him to come along. They want him to play right now to help this team.
And you take a look at this draft class from a season ago. Really, it grades out as a pretty darn good class.
So you have to give a lot of credit to the entire scouting organization. General manager, personnel department, college scouts, it all came together. They evaluated it very well and got a nice payoff.
Those passes out that far wide always make you hold your breath a little bit. Felt like it was in the air for a while.
What it does is it allows a defender to gain some ground, come from a long distance, and have a chance to affect the pass.
And this is good from 57 yards out. That was bombs away right there. These kickers now, it's like we take them for granted. Kicks like that used to be such a big deal, and now you just expect them to make it.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and we shouldn't take them for granted, but I have a theory about it. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
They are more athletic now than ever before. Talk about kickers. Trace their backgrounds, trace their histories. You'll find that they were big-time athletes all along, but their kicking was so prevalent that we made them specialists.
Well, and now those 50-plus yarders seem easy for some reason. And he'll be brought down at the 23, make it the 24-yard line. Now the Baltimore offense heading back out onto the field. And they'll certainly be trying to do better than that first drive where they went 3 and out.
And sometimes the first drive is just simply to settle nerves. You know what it's like at the start of a game with the emotion. Guys a little bit jumpy.
But you do.
Oh, you understand the same way. It's just like us calling one, right? Making sure we ease into the game, let it come to us.
Well, you went 3 and out.
And now they have that opportunity.
No, you didn't go 3 and out. I went 3 and out on that first drive. I'll try to do better here. Jackson and the Ravens come up now 1st and 10 at their own 24. And he'll wind up losing yardage here back at the 21-yard line. Calling a loss of 2 on the play. And that'll make it 2nd and 12.
Well, you had to punt on your first drive, and on the first play of the second drive, you end up going backwards. I would dare say they need something good to happen right here, right now.
10-0 the score after 1 on EA Sports. Second quarter now from Baltimore. It's the Ravens in possession as they've got it with a 3rd and 14 coming up. Jackson now. He's got his man. It's Andrews. And they're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. They give him a gain of 37. For an offense that has not found the end zone yet, that's a big play.
There's the spark right there. The big play that they needed. Now they've got to go ahead and finish this drive and put this ball in the end zone.
And he's going to get this inside the 30. And this game to the last one, and they moved the ball over 50 yards in 2 plays.
Well, coaches always talk about finding balance on offense. I don't think you get much more balance than this. Big-time run. Big-time pass.
A 1-2 combination. Looked pretty good.
How about that? Let's see if they can continue to take that kind of a punch, though.
They'll throw on first down with Jackson. Caught right side. It's Snead. And he'll be brought down at the 27-yard line. Just a yard on the catch there. It'll be 2nd and 9. Looking to throw again on 2nd down. Jackson looking left side. Andrews with it complete. And he's able to get it down to the 25-yard line. That throw good for only a couple. It brings up 3rd down.
And, partner, I think that was a great example that not all tight ends are created equal. Because everything was right. Got the completion, but he's not one of the more dynamic guys in the league. So even though he caught it, he couldn't turn it into much more. All right, that one fell incomplete there, but the best quarterbacks, they'll miss on 40% of their throws somewhere in that neighborhood, similar to a great hitter in baseball who's going to fail 7 out of 10 times and still have a great year. In this case, you want perfection, but way better that it hits the ground instead of going to an opposite color jersey.
Tucker named the league's all-pro kicker for the 3rd time in 2018.
Go ahead and admit it. The only time that you get excited about Justin Tucker kicking is when he actually misses.
It's
and excited is not the right word. Surprise is more what we're talking about. 90.1% coming into 2019. He's incredible.
So good field position for the Cardinals as they come up 1st and 10. A reminder coming up later tonight, Sunday Night Football, a good one from Atlanta. Eagles and Falcons, 8:20 Eastern. And then tomorrow on Monday Night Football, Odell Beckham back in New York, back in MetLife Stadium. Browns and Jets, 8:15 Eastern on Monday night. Meanwhile, they take a shot to start the drive, but this is going to wind up incomplete. They'll try again from the 36 on 2nd and 10. Murray looks to throw again, 2nd and 10. He completes it right side to White. And they'll get this well past midfield before being stopped just before the 35. The Cardinals going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with just over 40 seconds to go in the first half. So they move from 136 over to the other as they come up on 1st down.
Hey, we got 3 down.
On 1st and 10, here's Murray. And that is incomplete. He couldn't hold on through the contact. Brings up 2nd down.
Brandon, it looked like he had his hands on it for a moment, but let's face it, that was going to be a tough catch all the way because of the presence of the defense right there as he was trying to haul it in.
Yeah, nice job to force the incompletion. After the incomplete pass, here now is 2nd and 10. Back to the air on 2nd down, it's Murray. And this will be incomplete. Physical play on the football there, and it's 2nd down. Trying to get it to Clay that time, but now it'll be 3rd down.
And it is true. You can draft the fastest. You can draft the most athletic guys. But if they don't know the art of positioning, sometimes it's all for naught. In this case, in the right spot, helped force the incompletion.
Yeah, had his hands on it for a second. Would have been a tough catch, though. Falls incomplete. Meanwhile, on 3rd down, they take a shot at the end zone, but it's incomplete. They're going for a receiver there. Already has 1 touchdown in this first half. A 2nd one not to be.
I like where their headspace is, though. I mean, I really like the thought process, right? You got a guy who's already scored 1, right? You want to go back to him, continue the hot hand, and make them adjust to you defensively. I like what they were trying to get done, even though they weren't successful.
And this will split the uprights. It's right down the middle. And they will stretch their lead to 10 now at 13-3. Still a little bit of time left here in the 2nd quarter, but they do get 3 before the half and expand that lead.
And they have to be happy about that. And we haven't met a team yet that doesn't put an emphasis on trying to get points on the board in the last 2 minutes of a half. They'll be real excited to have those up on the board.
And now Baltimore gets set to take the field. And with time quickly fading here in the 2nd quarter, not sure how aggressively, offensively they want to play this.
I think we'll find out just how much they trust their guys in this situation if they decide to take a shot.
Tackle made there by Buda Baker. The last play got just a yard. Here's 2nd and 9 from the 26. And he's going to be taken down here as that will lead us to the end of the first half of play. So we reach halftime here in a 10-point game. As we'll send you down the coast now to Orlando, that's where we find Jonathan Coachman, ready with our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach.
Okay, Brandon, we'll get you back to you and Charles in a bit, but first it's time for a trip around the NFL following an eventful opening weekend. Let's see what's happening in Week 2. We'll start out with a rematch of Super Bowl 40 in Detroit. Seattle looking to get revenge as they travel to Heinz Field to take on Pittsburgh. And that game is tied 10-all in the second quarter. From there, it's over to our nation's capital to check on the Redskins at home at FedEx Field. And they trail the visiting Cowboys at halftime. The Cowboys looking to sew that one up, and they look to be in pretty good shape. Lastly, let's head to Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. See what's happening with the Bengals. And they trail in that one as it's the visiting 49ers who are out in front. Tevin Coleman has scored a touchdown. In our game, it was the rookie Kyler Murray showing the flash that made him choose football over baseball. His guys lead it by 10 as we send it back out to Brandon Godden and Charles Davis. Gentlemen.
All right, Coach, thank you, and we welcome everyone back for quarter number 3. Both teams appear ready for the fight ahead, and we resume action here in quarter number 3. This fielded a few yards into the end zone, and no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Out come the Ravens now. They'll go on offense first here in this third quarter. They have the ball here for the inaugural drive of the second half. Pretty big deficit, though. We'll see what adjustments were made in that locker room.
And I never want to make something more important than it actually is, right? I don't want to create more hype than what is there.
But this is do that?
I'm doing it, though. This is a really important drive. And we often talk about teams scripting plays to start a game. A lot of them script to start the second half, too. And they're scripting something that they expect to get them into the end zone and back into this game.
We'll see if that script is a good one for them. This pass into the arms of Snead. And he's going to be dropped following a pickup of 7 past the 30 to the 32. Able to get 7 on that first down pass play. 2nd and 3. On the toss play, this is Dixon. And they're going to get him behind the line yet again as his nightmare afternoon continues.
But these guys are going to chop into that deficit. They got to do a much better job in the run game. Caught behind the line of scrimmage. No yardage to be found.
Big play coming up. Here's 3rd and 10.
I would expect to see some pressure here.
And the blitz does come. He can run for it, and he will. Jackson always a threat to run. He's got the first down. He was the NFL's leading rusher among QBs a year ago.
We just saw a nice example of why teams often bring in baseball guys to teach quarterbacks how to slide in key situations. You want to protect your franchise guy. Make sure he doesn't get hurt. He did exactly that on that play. A perfect slide to avoid the big hit and pick up a first down.
Just a yard on the pickup there, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 9.
Sometimes with the running game, you've just got to stick with it. Look, it's the third quarter, no time to panic. But that also doesn't mean you just do it the same way you've been doing it the entire ball game. Maybe change up some blocking assignments or run a few different plays, but stay with the overall essence of the running game.
That one good for 26 and a first down.
Containing him is becoming a big problem. We've already seen this once earlier on this drive.
Yeah, and so now 2 times this has happened. Do you adjust something?
Yeah, I think you do. I think you got to start thinking about your rush lanes. Try not to either get too wide or too narrow. Make sure someone is there waiting for him to take off.
That's over 40 yards of movement with those last 2 plays. And this should be the final play before the quarter ends. And that is going to do it for this third quarter of action. You are watching the NFL on EA Sports. On first down, they go with Dixon. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. He'll get a nice chunk there on the first down run, and it's 2nd and 4.
Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice solid gain. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
Now a 2nd down throw for the end zone, but it's incomplete.
I know coaches tell us all the time that having a powerful arm isn't the #1 thing they look for in a quarterback. But when you're trying to throw inside routes and you need to put some heat on it, it helps have the big gun. In this case, just a little bit too much.
They get only 4 that time as that leads us to a 4th down.
One hallmark of good defenses is understanding the game, understanding positioning, and tackling immediately in the secondary after catches. I think we just saw that on display right there.
Got to him before he ever had a chance to think about turning it upfield. Tucker's kick is good. And they will cut the lead back down to a touchdown now at 13-6. So you knew one way or another that they needed the two scores. They get the easy one out of the way. Now they'll get the ball back, hopefully.
Yeah, and the question is, how do you accomplish that? Do you onside kick it? Or since you have all three timeouts, do you kick it deep? To me, I'm playing field position. With all three timeouts, I kick it deep and try and pin it.
And nothing but daylight ahead. 20, 10, touchdown, Cardinals. T.J. Logan, his first touchdown of the new season. And the Cardinals will extend their lead. A big-time special teams play here in the fourth quarter to extend their lead.
And coaches preach it all the time. If you can score on special teams, your chances of winning the game really jump up in a big way. Now, I'll let our analytics friends quantify it and give us the exact numbers, but that's what coaches talk about all the time, that extra momentum, that extra bounce you get from a special team score.
I don't have any analytics friends. Those are your friends.
I'll claim them.
Gonzalez good on the extra point, and the decision to just kick the extra point winds up successful. This is fielded a couple yards deep. And he'll take it back to about the 19-yard line.
Let's go, baby.
Jackson and the Ravens, here they come. Down by 2 touchdowns. Just over a minute 40 to play. It's been a struggle to score all day, and now they need to do it twice here late to have a chance. They throw right away, and that's complete out on the right side. And he'll be marked down at the 26 with a gain of 7. Throwing again on second down. Jackson. And boy, that one drops incomplete, but if he was hit a fraction sooner, it may have been a fumble.
Oh, that's got to frustrate him a little bit because it nearly got to him there, and it would have been the first sack of the game. Instead, they're able to influence the release, and they did force the incomplete pass.
Throwing is Jackson. And this is going to be incomplete.
So it looked like maybe his third or his fourth read on his progression. Just trying to find his outlet man that time. Ends up leading him just a bit too much.
They'll run. It's Dixon. And he gets it to the 34. Good enough for the first. They keep the game alive, at least for the moment, as it's a first down.
That was fourth and what we would call long in that situation.
And a big loss here as he's taken down. Jordan Hicks in there to take him down, and the clock will roll. On second and a long way to go. Jackson brought in left side by Snead. It's a pickup of 12, and that'll set up a third down.
They should put the coverage guys in a stress on that one. They thought they were going deep. Ends up curling inside for a nice chunk of yardage.
Here's Jackson on third and long. He's going to flip that out to the flat. It's complete. Now the Ravens going to use one of their timeouts as the clock will stop with 18 seconds remaining. They'll try and throw for it with Jackson. That'll be incomplete as the clock will stop with 14 seconds remaining. They had to go for it with such little time remaining, and that'll be just about all she wrote for this one. From the 34 now, here's 1st and 10. And they're going to take it all the way down and just take the delay.
Game offense.
He didn't seem in a rush. I guess they just didn't know where the play clock was.
I think you're right about that because there was no hurried movements there, right? No up-tempo at all. Clock just ran out. I think he was as surprised as maybe his bench was.
Murray now to throw. Going. And this is taken in at the 5. And with inside of 10 seconds, 8 to be precise, we get whistles and a timeout on the field. Well, they probably don't need to run a play here, but you wonder if they're going to be able to resist on 1st and goal. They'll run it with Johnson. And I think this defense knew what was coming as he is smothered behind the line. And the clock will now stop as a timeout is called with 5 seconds left. Back at the 5-yard line now, 2nd and goal.
Right there, 40's Mike. Let's go.
Back to throw it, Murray. And it's incomplete. They're still throwing to the very end, but now this game is over. So it's a win here for the Arizona Cardinals. And you look back over the score sheet, interesting. A very clean game, no turnovers by either side.
An absolute rarity when we watch games now because defenses have put such an emphasis on taking the ball away. Well, what we saw here was offenses spending their time saying, look, you know they're coming for it. Ball security is paramount. So they worked on that, not just a week of practice, but I'm sure all during training camp. Make sure when you have it, tuck it away because danger lurks everywhere you turn.
So for Arizona, it was a great all-around performance as they come out of this one with the victory. And they will head back home next week. Meanwhile, for the Ravens, they'll fall to 1-1, and they'll